Live? No way. Don't believe it.
One, two. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with a clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet. Unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
It's so abrupt how you end it.
It ends abrupt no matter how I end it.
Jeez. You need to
That is true.
clean that up, man. Oh, I forgot to create a Trello list here. Hold on. All the little pregame stuff I didn't do. Which reminds me, we didn't
start
do a
Zencaster
pregame
too.
I wait until I'm going to talk to do that. What did I do last? That doesn't make sense. What is this? Today's 04?
Yeah.
Wait, 2021, 10, 28. Oh, 2021, 11, 04. That's weird looking. That's a lot of ones. 2021, 11, 04. Okay, we're good to go. Discord, you with us, Discord?
Yes, we're here.
We're here. Everybody happy campers this week. No Discord. We're not. We will get into that. No, just kidding.
I'm passing you over an email address right now, Eric, for you to invite somebody to Notion. Just saying.
Okie dokie. I mean, obviously not for the show.
Nope.
Gotcha. Do they have a Notion account?
Yep. I asked them to create one, and that's the email address for it.
Boom, baby. Consider it done then. Tom, we may be switching to Notion for the show, by the way, because we have a little workflow going for PHP Architect that's working pretty well.
Hey, save it for the show, right? Or not, because they're not advertising. Just saying.
Cheap bastards. Actually, I gotta invite him. Sorry, he's been invited. Actually, invite him to this level here. Invite. Jesus. There we go. Okay, let me get Zencaster going. Are we all ready? Anything else we want to do? Talk about? Discuss?
No. Get it going.
You're listening to episode 261. Jesus, God, we've been doing this a long time. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, to my immediate virtual right or left or below me, depending on how I have my screen oriented, you may see him in the upcoming Netflix Tiger King 2. You may or you may not. Tom Rideout.
You're muted. Perfect start to the show.
Absolutely not.
261 times, and we still haven't gotten this right.
Well, because this is the first time it's just been me before John.
No, it's not.
Not even true. Not even close to true. And I was hoping you would pick up on that quick enough to give me a growl, but you've ruined it. Okay, moving on.
Why would I even think to do a growl?
Tiger King 2? Come on. Tiger King 2 is coming to Netflix. I'm just saying. There are things to be excited about.
That's not one of them.
Also with me, Jesus God. I told you that wasn't going to work. I told you that wasn't going to work, John. See?
In other news, moving is stressful.
Also joining me tonight in the longest introduction I've ever had.
That's because it's the most important.
Day 7 of his double secret probation, the person we are only going to refer to as the intern.
Is it only 7? Is that what you wanted?
I'm so done.
Is that what you're looking for?
Give me the name of the movie Double Secret Probation is from, and I will let you go right now. Give me the name of the movie. Okay, you've just added another week to your Double Secret Probation.
When Harry Met Sally?
Discord, Double Secret Probation. What movie is that from? They'll get it.
People don't know how to get to Discord. How do they get to Discord if you're going to point it out like that? Come on now.
The people I care about are in Discord. The people I care about have been asking me all day what time we're starting. Discord.phpugly.com if you care to join.
Please join. Our Discord is amazing. I've spent the last week, thanks to one of our friends in Discord, spending way too much time in this SaaS product, and then got to the end of the trial and they want me to spend $120 a month.
What SaaS product is that?
I'm not talking about it until they decide to advertise. I've sent them an email.
Okay.
I'm hoping they want to advertise.
Okay.
It's a really cool product. I like it, but we're too small for $120 a month. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. For sure.
It's a lot of money for a SaaS product. So I will have to share with you offline. But this came to me from a listener of the show who wanted to geek out with me about this topic. And I started researching and he pointed me to this SaaS solution. Not like he was selling it. There's other solutions out there. But of course, I go down this road. I'm on the phone with them, hey, can I get a walkthrough of your product? No, we don't do that because you're not spending enough money with us. It's well, I'm not going to spend money if you don't tell me more about your product. It's kind of the way it works. So, all that to say, our Discord people are amazing. Our Discord people are amazing. It's fun being in Discord. I learn a lot.
Tom, you're just kind of sitting there. What's up, man?
Well, I realized today that one of my coworkers, whenever he was mentioning something I disliked about Laravel, I referenced him to the hours of recorded content about my opinion on that, and that he did not know that I had a podcast.
You are a terrible promoter of the show. I'm just saying.
That too. But yeah.
And it turns out a terrible promoter of the magazine, because I do recall emailing somebody at your company about getting a subscription, and that still has not happened.
I tried to push that communication through. Listen, man, it's a startup. Stuff goes missing all the time. Startup life is rough. I will email my boss again. I will make sure it gets taken care of. There's only 1 week, unlike our patron rewards. Give it that same timeline. I'm sure it'll get handled.
I love our Discord. Even in private chat Discord, it's funny.
What is this goals boosts thing?
I don't know. I enabled it, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did. I don't know enough about Discord. I just saw this option. I'm like, oh, turn this on. And I don't know what it does. But we've had friends of the show boost our channel.
Oh, wait, we have new listeners?
No. Well, I mean, we might. We do have new listeners. I have people private messaging me in Discord right now, letting me know that 120 is a lot for a SaaS product, but the main application I work on is more than 120 a month
What
for a
is
SaaS
this?
product.
What is this SaaS product?
Huh? Did you not hear me say I'm not talking about the name of it?
Yeah, but like now I want to know.
Pay attention to the show.
It's so hard.
You can't give free advertising and expect advertisers to pay for advertising. It doesn't work
I
that
don't
way.
think that counts as advertising when we say that their support sucks and it costs too much.
But their product is awesome. Like, I want to pay 120 a month for it if I could justify that much money a year.
All right.
Listen, as soon as there's enough profit to pay, what is it, $1,400 a year? I'll pay $1,400 a year. But right now, there's not. So I'm not.
Eric, you seem
It's all about dollars and cents.
you seem agitated.
No.
Wait. He's still mad at me from last week. Are you guys still in love with this Copilot thing?
Oh boy. Oh goodness.
Are you seriously? Are you still in love with it?
Yeah.
It's got to be written like specifically for Laravel, because I've been using it for a week and it's given me a couple of suggestions, but nothing that I'm like, oh wow, how did you do that? It's like half of it is crap and that I have to delete and do again anyway, and then half of it is okay, but I have to kind of massage it still.
Yes. Okay, so that
so John doesn't want to upset potential sponsors, but he'll shit on GitHub any day of the week. That's
You think
awesome.
Microsoft's going to pay us money?
Yeah.
Yes,
no.
do.
First off, I want to say, we are a kind of dumb that only programmers can be. Where it's like,
Zombie, you're funny.
We can spend time speculating about like, where is it getting our data from, what language does it speak, how does it know what is what, or what our language is, and like Eric and I within the last week have spent collective hours just sort of going over this kind of thing, and it turns out that like copilot.github.com has very clear explanations of everything that we've been speculating about at length, just like right on their frequently asked questions, where they're like, how does it work? What does it do? What do you use it for? What information does it use? How does it use your data? Like every question I could imagine asking, there's just a bullet point that's like, hey, I understand you're asking this question. Here's a simple answer that alleviates all of your concerns. And it feels very dumb to have spent any time speculating about like how this works. Because
So are you feeling better about it, or are you not?
I'm feeling massively better about it, because aside from all of the like concerns we had, it also has just the basic functionality use case, which is like, hey, write a comment and it'll give you something approximating an answer that you're supposed to modify to fit your needs. Or if you have repetitive code, it quickly manages boilerplate code and tries to figure out your intentions. Specifically references testing. Tests are the backbone of any robust software engineering project. Import a unit test package and let GitHub Copilot suggest the tests that match your code. Like it very clearly states that it does not write the code for you, but it's a better version of autocomplete. That like you don't have to look up the docs all the time. You don't have to go to Stack Overflow, but it's not going to magically create all of your code for you.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I would categorize it as autocomplete either. I mean, autocomplete to me is like it figures out the next word or two, not the next code block.
Well, so that's the thing is they have like how to use it, which is make small code blocks, make functions that are small and have clearly defined names. Like it has all of this instruction and then information stuff on a single page where it's like, what's the optimal way to use Copilot? How does it read your code? Where does your code go? How do you install it for NeoVim, which I know you did?
I did. I have NeoVim, I have PHP Storm, and I have VS Code. I gotta say, everything pretty much holds true across the platforms. PHP Storms is super slow. It works. It's just pretty slow compared to VS Code. Vim is incredibly fast, but
it's Vim.
It kept having the issue of trying to figure out if it wanted to use autocomplete or Copilot.
Interesting.
For my tab, it kept kind of. I experienced a little bit of that in PHP Storm as well, where it was like PHP Storm's autocomplete was kicking in, and then all of a sudden it would decide, oh no, maybe you didn't mean. Let's use Copilot instead. But yeah, and there's a few people in Discord using it as well. I saw this week. A lot of people started talking more about it.
Yeah. So the hang up that Eric and I had this week was, why does this look like code I've already written? Where is it getting that from?
I'm assuming it's looking in your GitHub repo for all your other projects, or
no. So it is looking at your current open file. One sec. There we go. The only thing it has access to in your project is your currently open file. So if you have a test case and you want to modify the test case to have a negative version of the same test case, it works really well. It just takes the code you already have, it checks for thumbs up and changes them to thumbs down. Like it knows what to do with the code on your current page. And it doesn't understand anything that is used or imported in your code, unless the stuff that is used and imported is already somewhere used open source. So it kind of gets Laravel and how Laravel works, but it doesn't get your Laravel.
That's what I was wondering. Well, that's why I was wondering if it worked better for you guys using Laravel more than I do, right?
So here's an example.
Applications I work on aren't using Laravel, so it's not as helpful to me because it's not a public framework.
So here's a good example: is that I created a new log request object, and when I said create a function that logs the current request, it said, okay, so somewhere there's a log request object. My log request object was called request log middleware. It assumed there was a class that was just called request log. Now, once I told it that the object I wanted to reference was the request log middleware, it knew how to read that because it brought it into the current page and said, oh yeah, the constructor for that is this, and the methods available for it are this. So I assume that you use it in this format. But it didn't read my whole project looking for the request log object. It waited for me to bring it into the current page that I was on.
Well, that's less useful. Why is it not looking at my entire project?
It can't yet. This is currently a technical limitation of Copilot. And they state that in their frequently asked questions. What is the training set for Copilot? They also address where my code goes when I'm programming, which is basically a locked file system that is only accessible by engineers who are a member of the Copilot team. So my code...
Is that supposed to make us feel better, or...
They specify named engineers in the Copilot team. So
I mean, all the good intention can be had. The fact is, my code is going somewhere out of my control at that point.
Sure, but if you're hosting your
but...
code on GitHub, the license is actually looser than it is if you have a private GitHub repo. Your license is actually looser than it is.
But you're making the assumption that the code I'm working on is hosted at GitHub. What if it's not? What if it's something? What if something I'm using locally?
Then yeah, that's something absolutely to consider. Now they address responsible AI, protecting originality, and the training set. If you're interested in what data gets sent to GitHub, they have a whole telemetry terms of service breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
How does the telemetry data, and telemetry is the modern term for data gathered by you using it. But they have it's a pretty short breakdown of GitHub Copilot telemetry terms that basically says, we don't use your data to train the model. We use your data to improve how the model is trained. So if your code produces some kind of strange results, then the engineers will check out why your code produced that weird result, but your code doesn't go into the library that this AI learns based off of.
Gotcha. So my code snippets or pieces of my code aren't going to show up in your project because it's not using mine for training.
Right. So, and that's an interesting distinction, is that training is separate from the performative behavior of the software. So when your code is sent to Copilot and says, hey, here's the test that he's got written already, and Copilot suggests another test, it's not training Copilot. It's just using Copilot.
Right. So it's separated.
Right.
The training is separate.
Yeah. So all of the training data is still public GitHub repos. But then the final produced product, it doesn't train off of your code. It uses the training from all of the other code sources to understand your code.
Which goes back to me saying that it's going to be less useful for people that aren't using a framework, a well-known framework, whether it's Laravel, Symfony, Cake, whatever. If you're using a homegrown framework, it's going to be less useful to you.
Interestingly, if it's not in a framework, it'll probably do better. Because frameworks have magic methods. And that's the stuff that's hard to learn. But base PHP...
Not if you have a ton of public repos out there using those frameworks.
Sure, but there's very creative and awful ways of using magic methods.
No, I agree.
And for the training here to understand that is much more complicated than it is for just vanilla PHP. Now, one of the interesting things that they note in the documentation is, hey, what if I want to write a totally new language that no one's ever written before? And their response is like, hey, good on you. Submit it publicly to GitHub so we can understand what the hell you're doing. But we won't know what the hell at all what you're doing. If it's a new language, it's a new language, and we're blind. And yeah, it definitely looks at the current file that you're editing and sees that there's a PHP tag in there or sees that it's a bash script. But if you are writing in a new language, it has no idea what to do with it. It doesn't give suggestions. Now,
give the bots time, they'll learn.
It doesn't always get some things about PHP right as well, like just the core language. I've had a lot of arrays that don't have a closing bracket on them, or like arrays that don't have a comma on the last value, which is a 5/6 thing. It's like it needs work for sure, but
it's also learning from a crap ton of PHP 4 and 5 code bases.
Right. And it's learning from a sort of a curated list now that it's in a beta. So when they want to go to supporting PHP 7 and 8 really well, then they're going to curate PHP 7 and 8 stuff much more and say, hey, this is Symfony. It requires PHP 8. Pay attention. Or like, hey, this is how you read a composer package because it doesn't know about packagist. So here's how you get the rest of the data that's needed for this.
I'm very curious how it performs on other languages. Obviously, we're PHP focused, but how is it reacting in a Java environment or a C environment?
We saw how it deals with Go, and it was pretty spectacular. But what I haven't seen is how it deals with vanilla PHP. Because so much of the stuff I do is like, well, PHP unit tests and calls to facades for stuff in Laravel and helper functions, and it's like it gets confused sometimes. And they basically say like, yeah, don't use the code as it produces it. Make sure it's fits your need. But yeah, it's that if you go to copilot.github.com, there's a lot of interesting information about how they use your data, how they don't use your data, and sort of the future of what this is going to become.
Yeah, and like I said, well, first thing, I am a fan of this. I think we're at the very beginning of a complete change in our industry and what our roles are in our industry, and hopefully the quality of code that's produced by it. But when I was referring to earlier about security concerns, my biggest advice to you is if you really have security concerns about where and how Copilot's using code, don't use Copilot. Like, it's nothing. You're not being forced to use it. I mean, it's if you really are worried about proprietary code and where it ends up, don't use a product like Copilot. That's all I have to say. Everybody in Discord who was talking about Copilot this week, one of the things I'm hearing pretty consistently across the board is how much it's improved writing tests for them. And I think you were talking about this last week, Thomas.
Yeah.
I still haven't even bother to try it, but they say it makes it really does well at writing tests and getting tests going.
And they say that in the FAQ, hey, this is really good at tests.
Yeah. So I want to stick with GitHub for a little bit because I'm building up to something, but a couple interesting things have happened here. One, I'm seeing a pattern. John and I talked about this earlier today or yesterday, I forget, how Todoist has a new command palette where you hit Control K and it opens up this command palette that you can do things in. I'm like, I like that. Like, again, being a Vim guy and having my hands on the keyboard, I love these things. I love command palettes and stuff like that. No sooner do I say that, GitHub has the exact same command palette now. And again, I guess it must be an industry standard that was it Control? Yeah, Control K is that command palette launcher as well. So if you go to GitHub and you hit Control K, or at least for me, I don't know if
you're right. It does. That's
one.
Cool.
And what's really nice is it's better than the search bar because as somebody like me who has multiple organizations, it lets me switch what organization I'm in, then look for the repos within those organizations. It is so nice that command palette, both in Todoist did a great job, but GitHub, what a game changer for me that is. I'm loving that command palette in GitHub.
It's Control K is big in Slack too. I use it.
Yeah,
all the
Slack,
time.
and actually it's in Discord as well. It's the same conventions in Discord that's in Slack with. I don't know if Control K works. Is Control K? No,
okay,
Control K doesn't.
So once you do Control K in GitHub, backspace to get back to your organization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing any of this.
Control K does work in Discord. You're right. Yeah, the same conventions that are in Slack are in Discord as well. You're not seeing it in your GitHub?
Where in GitHub?
Just anywhere. Just go to GitHub and hit Control K.
There we go.
That's feeling like, oh yeah, they see it.
Nice. That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, a true game changer for me. And again, you add this to Vim bindings with your browser. Again, GitHub, I have to exclude my Vim bindings because of stuff like this. But the less you got to reach for the mouse, the more productive you are. Another story popped up, and this one kind of hit closer to home. And it's been a topic that I've been thinking a lot about, and I think it's going to be very important. But Nate Friedman is leaving GitHub, I think. He posted to the GitHub blog yesterday. He said, "This morning I sent the following post to the GitHub team. I'm moving on to my next adventure." And Thomas Domik, current chief product officer, will be the GitHub next CEO. I will become chairman emeritus. I don't know what that means.
Emeritus.
Emeritus? What is that? I don't know what that is.
Like awarded without
voting.
I can look it up real fast. Let's see. Google
former holder of office having retired but allowed to retain the title as an honor.
There you go. So yeah, he's leaving GitHub. Now it's funny because I think I've met Nate in the past. If I'm not mistaken, I met him at a Novell conference up in Utah one year. He'd just come to Novell, and Novell had just bought his company Xavier, or not Xavier. What the hell was that product he had? Started with an X. Anyways, Nova had purchased his company, and I'm pretty sure I met him. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty cool guy. But he's been at GitHub. He's a really big proponent of Xamarin. That was it, yeah. Of open source. And I mean, when he went to Microsoft, I'm like, they're going to strangle him. Like, he will not be able to thrive in that area. And damn if he didn't. And I really feel like Microsoft's embracement of open source has got to have something to do with this guy. I mean, he's just that influential. Anyways, he's leaving GitHub. And of course, I say this hits home a little bit because it's like, big projects and big companies changing hands. I mean, we kind of just went through that with PHP Architect, and you see it every now and then with I know I saw it, occasionally with user groups, like people who've ran user groups for a long time, then they move. It's like, oh, is that user group going to fade away or break it,
Yes.
disappear? And then
the answer is yes.
Then you find out that somebody else steps up and takes the realm and starts to run it.
Reigns.
Maybe they run it differently. Reigns, here you go. Maybe they run it differently, but it's like it's always like this interesting thing to see, like these big projects. Or we had this recently with a was it Python that just did it? Like the lead developer of Python stepped away or something. It's always just really interesting to see, like, you see this sort of things happen. Like GitHub. I mean, GitHub, Jesus, they're top of their game right now. Like, why would you step away from GitHub, and how's that going to impact GitHub? And the reality of it is, it's going to be a change, but it'll carry on.
Things have a way of finding their balance, right? That where people step up, things continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think
hopefully Microsoft doesn't break. Yeah,
they might be a little late for their first release, but they'll get back on track at some point.
I think for people who have these sort of executive positions, they like to see that the company is going in the direction that they want it to and no longer needs them. Like now that GitHub is solidly hitting its stride and it's got leadership that has the same ideals that he does, then he kind of isn't needed anymore, and he can move to another company that needs the same directional control. And this is not a slouch. I mean, we're talking about an advisor for Stripe, corporate vice president for developer services at Microsoft, a co-founder and chairman of YIMBY, which is a housing policy organization. I mean, like, CTO of Novell. This is not a slouch. This is somebody who gets shit done. And I think when they're leaving and the product is peaking, they're basically saying, like, hey, this is what I'm here for. Now it's on to the next project to guide them in the right direction. Which, to be clear,
my life.
To be clear, not my attitude towards things, because when things start peaking, I'm like, hell yeah, this is great, and I will ride that wave. I have no intention of making new waves to create difficulty for myself. I like that smooth ride.
Yeah, but he sold to Microsoft. I forget what GitHub was purchased for, but I'm sure he's not hurting.
Well, he worked for Microsoft starting in 2016.
Yeah, I think Microsoft put him in the position.
And so when Microsoft bought GitHub, when Microsoft bought GitHub, they made him CEO.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's not about him specifically. I'm just saying we've seen that a lot. I mean, yes, we have the big CEOs. Bill Gates left Microsoft. Like, whoever thought Bill Gates was going to leave Microsoft? You have Bezos leaving Amazon. It's like, but even like project level, even like, community level and project level. It's when it's not about the money, when it's not about going out on top, when it's just about burnout or just about, hey, I got a real job now and I can't do this anymore. The thing is that if it has a strong enough community behind it, it continues going. And could you imagine tomorrow if Taylor said, and I'm kind of done with this whole PHP framework thing.
Yeah.
I'm stepping away,
Could totally imagine that.
But Laravel, I don't think Laravel would die on the vine there. I mean, I think
no. But Laravel is so unique because it's not. It's not.
Okay,
it's not extraordinarily unique.
Stop
but
making it about that individual. Let's use something else that's not about like an individual. What?
Absolutely.
Livewire. Let's say
Fabian Potentier stepping away from the Symphony Foundation would not be surprising to me at all.
There you go. There's a good example.
Because he's not a BDFL. He is he is a board member and contributor.
Explain what that is.
Benevolent Dictator for Life is a self-titled, a partially self-titled role for some open source developers who consider themselves the only answer to any development future for a product, but they're nice enough to listen to the people who use it. That's literally it. Like, I make the rules, but I'll listen to your suggestions in a 24-hour poll. That's a BDFL. And a lot of open source owners consider themselves BDFLs, and I think it's a shitty thing to consider yourself when your community gets to a certain size. But that's not I don't get to make that decision. I just get to think those people are shitty for doing it. Mm-hmm. But when Fabian Potentier said, this is a big thing that affects a lot of people, I'm going to create a foundation to support this, under which I am just a board member and a talking head. That's a big move. So absolutely, it's not about the person unless the person makes it about themselves. And some people in the community make it about themselves. And some people don't. Fabian talks a lot about what's coming in Symphony and how proud of the team he is and what a group effort it was. And other people on other projects talk a lot about how their life has improved and they love the community. And today we're doing something wildly different because it just...
That's an interesting... No, I'm going to give you... I'm going to applaud you on that one. That is a good analogy, Tom. I mean, because you have seen projects. I mean, one of the bigger projects I'm involved with. The whole reason there's NeoVim is because the people who are trying to contribute to Vim didn't have that sense of community. Now, I'm not saying Vim is dying. Vim is going strong. There's not a problem there. But the whole reason there's NeoVim today is because the community behind Vim wanted more of a voice. And so they just created Vim.
And this happened a lot with projects from the 70s with Emacs, XEmacs, VI versus Vim versus NeoVim. Like that.
Well, and something a little closer to home is, and maybe one of you guys have more information on it. I get the impression it was kind of the same thing with CodeIgniter, right? Like CodeIgniter got bought by a company,
I don't know, but it definitely smells that way.
And then it got more and more difficult to contribute to CodeIgniter as an open source contributor, and a lot of people in Laravel came from CodeIgniter because even Taylor himself. I mean, Taylor wasn't intentionally abandoning CodeIgniter. He had an idea and decided to build a framework around it, and he just ended up with this framework. But a lot of people did jump ship from CodeIgniter over to Laravel, in my understanding, I was never really part of that community, so I've only heard it secondhand, but my understanding of it was kind of along the same lines of they weren't embracing their community. It was kind of challenging to contribute to it.
CodeIgniter was a weak community.
Isn't that why PHP 7 and 8 have gained as much traction as they have? Is Facebook wanted a lot of changes, but they weren't getting support from the PHP community at the beginning, so they created Hack. They started doing a lot of crazy things, and then all of a sudden, PHP community or maintainers like, "Oh shit, we better start listening." Brought that back in, so
I think PHP 6
in a roundabout way they came around.
I think PHP 6 can't be ignored because it was such a clusterfuck that they got stuck on. And Facebook was like, we're not participating in the clusterfuck. We're going to do our own thing with Hack. And Falcon came out and was like, hey, we can make PHP fast. You know what would make it faster is doing the things we want to do. And CodeIgniter was like, hey, that stuff's all cool. And Cake was like, yeah, that stuff's pretty cool. And WordPress was like, no, we rely on the inherent insecurity of PHP. You can't change anything. And so abandoning PHP 6 was a decision to basically abandon WordPress and say like, hey, we love beginners. This language caters to beginners. But we can't be the shittiest language in the group because WordPress is so popular, because WordPress isn't even that cool. It's just popular.
Oh, trust me, I've been way in deep in WordPress the past week.
Oof.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I see in your list you have John breaking newsletter sign up at phparch.com, and I'm putting dots together of you begging the Diego Dev team to test the sign up on phparch.com. Did I miss something?
No, so this goes back to that service. I did not break newsletter at all. That's not
what your Trello board says.
Mine? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it says John breaking newsletter sign up on PHP Arch.
Where in the hell do you see this at?
On your Trello.
John breaking newsletter sign up on PHP Arch.
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Eric,
all right.
you put that there?
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. No, I just know he was asking the Diego Dev team to test it.
No,
this morning or yesterday.
This was last month. This was over like a week or two ago. I forget what that one was.
Yeah, what's the rule about reading from other people's Trello lists?
Exactly. My thing this morning was again testing that new service. I realized, I am double reporting analytics somewhere. I want to fix that, but I need more people to go to the site so I can see if I fixed it correctly.
So we're back to that service you can't name. I still don't know what any of this is. Right,
exactly.
Never mind. Tom, stop sniping other people's cards.
And stop vaping.
I
hear more about your vaping on the show. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, tobacco industry propaganda is a bitch, isn't it?
It's just more when you forget to mute, and it's like,
hey, that's Eric's problem.
It's my problem too. He just voices it before I get to.
Well, Charlton in Discord brings up a good point, which is that WordPress was the BDFL for PHP for a long time, and it took everyone accepting that we can't accept that for PHP to move forward. Deprecating stuff, improving security. Like, we got Sodium Lib late in the game. Node was out and had Sodium Lib. Ruby on Rails had Sodium Lib, and PHP was like,
Sodium Lib.
That's not my point.
I've always heard
Lib
it called
Sodium.
Lib Sodium. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
But Yeah,
Wish
like
there's a good article on it, so I
this
could read
is
more
this is
about
where
it.
I think the BDFL stuff
Coming up next month.
is bad. And
Feature article.
I know that there's a lot of Laravel developers out there who are turning to Symfony for the stability and reasonability of the release cycle and the community that's there. And like Laravel has a great, big, happy community, and I
Yeah,
think that's a good.
I
I think that's a good
it-
thing, but the community doesn't get listened to very much.
right. And one of the things that people might forget about the Laravel community, in the scope of communities, they're pretty young still. Like they're still pretty new. I mean, Laravel itself has been out for 10 years, but Laravel didn't get moved until like Laravel 4 and 5. It really started picking up steam. So a lot of people in Laravel are that community is still young. You got communities like Symfony, even WordPress, where those communities are so much more well established, and the people in those communities are so much more well established that they don't find the need to toot their horn every time something new comes out in their framework. They just embrace it. They're part of the process. Like you said, it's a different community. They're part of that process. They see these things happening. And every time something new is released, it's not like this, oh, hey, look what we're doing now sort of mentality. It's just like, hey, yeah, this is our niche. This is our framework. We're just going to keep using it.
Right.
And I think it also hurts. So with Laravel, the thing that really got that community going was Laracast, right? And the ease of the fact that somebody was there holding your hand and walking you through how to use all this new stuff in this framework.
I still see on Reddit all the time people talking about how great the documentation for Laravel is, and including Laracasts as part of the Laravel documentation. And I'm like, no, it's not part of the documentation. It's one guy's system for monetizing learning about Laravel, and it worked really well, and he did really good at it. And hypothetically, they're the same person, but we haven't gone on that train for a long time.
Symfony has God, I forgot about that one. Symfony has tried to mirror that model a little bit. They're not even trying to hide it. They call it Symfony Cast, right? But again, there aren't so many new people coming to Symfony like there are to Laravel. So something like Symfony Cast is a good thing to have, and it's nice for when new people show up. But it wasn't like this massive flood that there was with Laravel, with all these people wanting to learn it and just looking for material to learn from. And Jeffrey Wade just hit when the iron was hot and opened up a floodgate, and people just latched onto it.
Symfony Cast needs Jeffrey Shui.
I'm assuming, just like we heard about Laravel when it was in its infancy, I'm sure so did Jeffrey Way. So he started creating these videos. Like you said, he just got in at the right time. It was still new, and it was up and coming.
No, and he's good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. You know who else is good at what they do?
Who is that?
Honeybadger.
Honeybadger transforms you into a DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and cron monitoring into a single, easy-to-use platform. Stop wasting your time tailing logs and deploy with Swagger. Visit honeybadger.io today to level up.
Thanks, Honeybadger.
Thanks, Honeybadger.
Thank you, Honeybadger.
All right, so you guys want a funny story?
Oh, please.
What?
You brought up libsodium, so it reminded me. We have this client that's been around for a really long time, and sometimes it's hard to get clients to change things. And I've been telling them for a very long time that their authentication scheme is broken, and going as far as telling them how to fix it, opening pull requests to fix it, opening multiple pull requests to fix it. And when talking to them recently, they said, what are the downsides? I'm like, once you deploy it, there's no going back because you're blowing away all the previous password data you had is going to be using password hash. So there's concern.
Ray, when someone asks you if you are a god, you say yes.
Except as soon as I tell them there's a problem and that there's no going back, they found a way to break it.
Of course. That's
Literally,
why you say
like,
that's why you say there's no problem.
Minutes later, they're like, oh, if you do this, it breaks. I'm like, son of a bitch, I hate legacy code. Hate legacy code. So that was my day today, was how do I work around the issue that was found? And then how do I make it not an all or nothing thing? Because right now it'd be every person that logs in would be like, are you using the old password scheme? Yes. Okay. Does your password match? Yes. Okay. Now you're going to use a new password scheme. Done. The problem was with the broken authentication that they had prior, there was a workaround. So the new encoded password was not the real password. So then the real user couldn't log in afterwards.
Does PHP not have an update password schema built-in method now?
They do. If you're using that system to begin with, we're still using
like a handmade
outdated crap that you're not supposed to use.
Ooh.
So the good news is I found a way to make the product owners comfortable. Like, okay, this is not an all or nothing. We can slow roll this out, making it clear that this is a temporary solution. I want this like implemented, tested on internal users, tested on a few external users, and then done. Like, it's got to go. Like,
I don't like any of what you're saying.
There's like no reason to be doing this anymore.
You're A/B testing passwords, man.
No, I'm not.
No, you 100% are.
So no, in the past, going back years, like over a decade, there's a password type. You're either clear text or you're not. If you're set up this way, you're clear text. And if you're this way, you're not.
Oh God.
It's not clear text anymore. I can tell you that much.
Oh. Hold on. I'm getting another beer. That's too much.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that great, but it's not that bad. Progress is being made. So the other funny thing is I looked at my closed pull requests that were not merged. Since the inception of using GitHub for this project, 366 pull requests closed without being merged.
Can you give us an idea of how many years that is, though?
9.5.
I mean, okay, that's more than I thought. But still, that's a lot of PR.
366 closed without being merged.
So the one way of looking at it is somebody pays you to write code for 300 plus pull requests and thought that it wasn't good enough to make their code base, but still continue to pay you. So, I mean, you can mark that up as a win.
So I just looked at how many I've had merged in that same amount of time.
Eric's been watching too much baseball. That is not how wins are defined.
What was that, John?
The number I've had actually merged in that same amount of time is 15.
Just the number 15? 15? Is that what you're saying?
No, 20 over 2,600, but still.
That's DiegoDev.com.
Still not a good average.
Oh my God.
I hate GitHub.
Have you guys watched Squid Game?
No.
Have not. It was brought up in Discord. Haven't seen it.
So
I have an idea of the concept. I'm waiting for Tiger King 2 to come out though. It's on Netflix.
that's gonna be
Isn't Squid
terrible.
Game
I
on-
thought didn't
Isn't
it
that on-
end with him in jail? How are they coming out with
Yeah.
a second one?
Yeah,
It's more stuff, man.
it's
more
more
stuff.
garbage.
He thought for sure that he was getting a pardon from Trump. I'm really curious how that went over.
There was a limo
yeah.
waiting in front of the prison
Yeah,
because they don't
that's-
understand how pardons work.
I heard that story too. I don't know if it's true, but I heard
It's
that story
absolutely
too.
true. I have the picture. It was a stretch Humvee. However, no, Squid Game is a play on a very old Japanese format, which is playing games to be the last survivor.
I thought it was
Don't
akin
give
to
away too
Saw
much
the
spoilers.
movies.
No, it's more like the deadliest. What is that old English? The deadliest prey, or the stuff like that. It's
What are you talking about?
it's a very, very well played out genre, and it appeals very specifically to the current socioeconomic political environment of South Korea. The Deadliest Game. Thank you.
Eric's
and-
daughter.
Yes.
I thought I was
So-
going to slip by a week without them participating, but no. Now the shit's about to hit the fan.
So here's the thing: is that it's really popular just because, like, it hit a personal note with some people. It is not a particularly good execution of the concept, and in fact, Netflix has a series called Alice in Borderlands, which is a much, much better version of the same thing.
Alice
it's-
in Borderlands?
Yeah, but Alice in Borderlands is Japanese, whereas Squid Game is South Korean and has these different contexts with debt and taxes and sort of what middle class life is. It's okay.
Okay,
It's
why are
not
we
good.
talking about it then?
There goes John again, just shitting on another topic.
I'm asking.
Right
Well,
the show to a
I'm
hole.
asking-
Somebody,
I'm asking where he's
somebody,
going
Yeah,
with it.
Tom. If it's shit, why? This is shit. Why are we talking about it?
somebody rode the hype cycle over it and created a Squid Games coin and managed to get $3.5 million invested into this cryptocurrency, and then just like walked away with the whole thing. And like, yeah, that's what you get. But at the same time, Shibe Coin did the exact same thing, but they haven't pulled the rug yet. They haven't like totally screwed all of their users.
What is
It's-
Shibe Coin supposed to be?
It's the competitor to Dogecoin. And they haven't pulled the rug yet, but it's the exact same play, but now it has a market cap of like 5 billion. And the news articles that are out about this are like, hey, did you know somebody invested $8,000 in Shibe Coin and it's now worth 3.5 billion?
See, that's
And I was
where
like,
you
yeah,
went
that's
wrong.
the creator of the coin.
That's where
and
you
they
went
can't
wrong
get-
with yours, Tom.
But they
When you
can't
were
get
doing
that
your
money.
coin, you needed to call yours like the ugly coin, and people would be like, "The ugly coin? Why is the ugly coin?" And they would have given you a lot of money for it, and you could have just done that.
I
What
tried.
did you call yours? I forget what yours was called.
Bus Coin.
Bus Coin.
Bus. Yeah, like what What? Am I going to get on a bus? Ride a bus? What?
Busk.
No.
There's a cut in there.
Busk? Is there? Was there?
Yeah,
Is there a bus in there?
BUSK coin.
BUSK. What is that? What is a
Busk.
busk?
Busking is when you work for change on the street.
That doesn't make. That's not even. It should have been the ugly coin.
That was the
How'd you call
whole
that
model of
ugly
it.
coin? If you
The
had
whole
called it
model.
ugly coin, you'd be a billionaire right now.
No, the whole model was that individuals are worth pennies at a time, but contributing as a group.
You're going to argue with me? You're the one. You're the one that had the failed coin. I'm just giving you the $1 million idea that could have made you a millionaire.
I had a lot of that coin though. I had a lot.
You're the only one.
Well, no, I had a wallet with 500,000 of the coin, and the other like 10 million was available for mining. That's the thing about it, is that when you create a coin, there's a mathematical structure to it where the first wallet gets a dumped sum value. But after that, you have to work for it just the same as everyone else. And so that's how the Shibe coin stuff worked. Whereas like people didn't understand how these coin generating platforms work. And so they were like, hey, this guy has 8 billion coins and he's selling them off for super cheap. And he's like, yeah, I made them up. They're not a real thing. And no one, like, the whole thing is crazy. And I see ads for Shibecoin on Facebook. And I'm like, that's fucked up. I've never even heard of it.
That's funny. That's how much I follow that now. I'm an OG Bitcoin person, and nothing else makes sense to me.
I thank God for the NFC fiasco, where a bunch of people realized how screwed they were getting.
I can't believe it took them that long.
It only took them $30 million.
Yeah, that got out of hand really quick. I mean, really quick. Like it came out the gate out of hand.
Yeah,
I couldn't get my head around it, and yeah, because I'm a sane person.
But Tom, weren't you saying it's the next big thing? Like,
absolutely, it's the next big thing. But one NFC for $30 million is
NFC
not
or
the
NFT?
Next NFT. One NFT. I'm getting upset.
I'm so confused.
One NFT for $30 million is not the next big thing. When it happens again, that's an indicator of something. But the first time it happens, you have to watch this video about the retro game market. About people who are buying rated, sealed Nintendo games. Because it turns out the whole thing is fake. And it's really easy to fake. Where like a news article comes out and some guy bought an original Mario Brothers cartridge for $5 million. But the guy is an investor in the company that sets the value of the Mario Brothers cartridge. And his payment is completely blind, so you can't see where the money comes from or goes. And it increases the value of the company he's an investor in for rating video game cartridges. Like, there's an expose about this on YouTube, and it's the same thing that's currently happening with crypto. If you don't have a good reason to invest in a crypto, then don't invest in it. I'm invested in Cardano and Litecoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin because those have inherent values. But all the other stuff is like, there's no value. There's no value proposition. Shibecoin, Dogecoin, they are jokes. And there are people who have $10 million who are making another $5 million off of screwing people over. And it drives me insane. All right. Done.
I think we all are.
Now I have to pee.
Should I wrap up?
Time to wrap up.
No. The PHP world. I have
What?
something going back to PHP and the PHP world. Is that PHP is moving to GitHub for its issue tracking.
Welcome to the party. Yeah, that's been a thing for a while.
Well, so Nikita Popov, friend of the show, has released, I assume, has released the official RFC for moving the bug tracker from bugs.php.net to the issue tracker built into GitHub. And I could not imagine having to write an RFC of this scale for something that I would just be like, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
that's what
you just put out a 24-hour poll and say, okay, let's do this.
Right, absolutely. But
no, you got to get the input from the community.
Well, and the community is like, yeah, duh. And if I had written this much text on a topic, I'd be very upset about internals.
This is the thing I keep saying about the internals team. It's like the work they're putting in behind the scenes, the work that like so many PHP developers never bother to check out or acknowledge is just so massive, and they don't get the credit. And these are volunteers. Like what? Like I'm not going to write this up for a client. You're doing this for this open source project. Yeah. Crazy. People are crazy.
I am bad at documentation, but man, this puts me to shame. Like really to shame. And you know, you bring up a good point about like the PHP developers who pay attention to what's going on. So I've been doing a couple interviews lately with PHP developers where I ask them very pointed questions like, hey, what's the new thing in PHP 8 that you love? And I got an interview where the guy was like, property promotion, it's awesome. And the rest of the interview was like middling. But then we sent him a code test. And there's like one point in the code test where he uses property promotion, which is just surrounded by bad code. Like
maybe he's using CodePilot.
Oof. He clearly was not.
So you're saying code tests are now more important than asking about comic strips?
Well, this was the interesting thing for me. So is after this interview, I was speaking with my coworker and I said, I'm really interested in the code test because the interview gave me so little information. Whereas usually my interviews are all I care about. The code test is just a proof of concept for basic understanding. But like my questions are pointed and the answers are concise and relevant. But there was just something about this interview where it was like things weren't as solidly answered as I wanted. So I wanted to make sure that the code at least carried itself. And my coworker's the other way around. He doesn't care as much about the personal interview. He wants to see the code sample. So he was surprised that I was so interested in the code sample, and the code sample came back and it was like, oh, you've worked a lot with WordPress, but not PHP. It's very interesting.
Did you read last month's Did you read last month's PHP Architect?
Portions of it. I haven't gotten
Portions
through the
of it.
whole. I haven't gotten through the whole thing.
You're an absolute asshole. Did you notice there's a comic strip in there?
I believe that got sent to me directly from Slack.
Would it make you feel good to let you if I told you inspired that?
No.
It wouldn't? Okay, well then you did. Don't worry about it. I was going to try to make you feel good, but we had actually planned that out months in advance.
I thought I was the bad guy in that comic strip.
No, the whole idea of asking an interview question about why a comic strip is funny, why a geeky comic strip is funny.
Yes.
We had decided to put a comic strip in PHP Architect. I'd reached out to the artists and everything, and I had already queued up a bunch of comics when you brought that up. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Like, what a great idea. I was gonna help your ego and say you inspired that, but if it doesn't help your ego, then no, I'll tell you the truth. Yeah.
But I believe the third panel just said like that's a stupid idea, didn't it?
No.
I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember every. I'm on Reddit.
It was
more of a dig at me.
Refactoring.
It was more of a dig at me.
Refactoring. Yeah. But
I'm still digging
anyway,
through.
I was talking about the concept of the fact that there's now a comic strip in the new PHP Architect magazine, and I was going to try to make you think that you had a part of that. You like to always claim my achievements. Anyways, I was going to give you that one. I was going to give it to you on a platter, but you don't get it now.
Okay, you already know that doesn't work with me. I will start questioning the platter. What is this?
You want something else? Like nobody else even noticed. Like nobody even made mention of, hey, there's a comic strip in PHP Architect now. Where did this come from? Didn't see. I was thinking I would see a tweet or something about it, but nope, nothing. Dead silence.
Okay, that's also the first issue I've ever had.
Well,
so
that's disappointing to hear. Especially when there have been free issues in the past. Like literally anybody could have gotten a complete issue of PHP Architect when it was sponsored by a sponsor, and you're still telling me you still didn't make the effort to go download it.
I got several free issues from conventions.
There you go.
So
you just lied to me again. That wasn't your first one.
Yeah.
He should be used to it. He's like my 5-year-old. Lies to me right to my face.
Are we following along?
All right, I think that's it. Are we wrapping up?
Yes, we're wrapping up.
Did you have anything else
to talk about? I totally had one more thing.
You're the one that has to pee, man.
Didn't we start wrapping up like 20 minutes ago?
No, you're right. Listen, 8.1 is coming. I'm very interested in a lot of the features that are here, specifically fibers. People are starting to implement fibers into their projects in preparation for 8.1 to come out. The F-Sync and F-Data Sync stuff I'm interested in. So if you have information about it.
Is that the beep beep reference? Roadrunner?
What are you talking about?
All right, continue.
He's talking about the fact that the newest version of Roadrunner, which is an async version of PHP's engine, is getting prepped for 8.1 with fiber support. So
it was more about
interested in that.
It was more about Taylor's tweet where all it was beep beep.
Oh yeah, probably.
Taylor has Octane that runs off Roadrunner. I wonder if he's using fibers.
It's not using fibers yet. That's the thing, is that Roadrunner doesn't support fibers yet. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
we'll see. About this, or are we holding it for next week?
There's no announcement yet about what that really means, but yes, it probably means Roadrunner.
What about this card? Are we talking about this card? Because there's good stuff on here.
The 8.1 changes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into that next week because I'm going to go through all of the stuff that's coming in 8.1. I want to hear our Discord tell us what they think 8.1 is going to bring to the table and how interesting it is. Speaking of our Discord,
Thanks to our Patreons.
Huge thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Very end of the show.
We had another conversation in the Herd channel where Patreon supporters overseas are asking why John hasn't mailed out their swag stuff yet.
Because you said you were going to get me some information.
The information, I double checked. It's in the spreadsheet.
What
it's
spreadsheet?
in the spreadsheet.
You got to give me a spreadsheet.
It's how'd you send out the stuff to the people in the U.S.? It's that spreadsheet. I'll send it to you again. I haven't updated it. I haven't updated the. I think one of the columns was where they are in contributions, because we like to make sure people get over a certain contribution because of the cost. I haven't updated that. So however many months it's been since you've looked at it.
I'm in there right now. Up. Hey, look at that.
Background. Don't qualify for
exactly. They don't qualify. That's where I stopped reading.
They are out of country, but we typically send if they have pledged over a certain amount of money. So, yeah, I figured you would take that. So we're sending. John is going to send swag to the people who are looking, especially to the one who was calling us out, because being completely fair,
because you're the squeaky wheel. Why not?
No. Well, yes, but also our loudest supporter on like Twitter and Facebook. I mean, whenever there's a positive tweet about PHPUgly, it's almost always this person, Dmitri. I'll say Dmitri.
Aside but that wasn't who it was.
Aside from our patrons,
no,
Buttery.
No, it was not.
No.
It wasn't. Buttery said don't dump. Not the one I saw earlier today.
Yeah, it's Dmitri.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
look at his Twitter handle. It's the same. It's the same avatar.
Okay.
We covered this last week that Joe Ferguson was getting an M1 Mack, and I believe within 12 hours of having received it, he had Vagrant running, or no, Homestead. I'm sorry, Homestead running on the M1 hardware. So huge shout out to Joe Ferguson for getting an M1 Mac for about 8 hours, 12 hours of work. Very impressive.
Okay, I think that is where we're going to end it. Episode 200.
There will be more work for him to do. It's
episode 261 is in the books. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Charlton, hang out. Hey, you didn't break into the music. What's up?
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host,
Charlton.
Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host name Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting.
Dance, John.
The room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a live in web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
And of course, a shout out to Harry Mack for our wonderful theme song
He is
that we
blowing
never
up,
actually
man.
approved for use as like a theme song, but
No, when I asked for it, I said exactly what we were gonna do with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our listeners demanded it.
I got, I have
Sure.
a Mac. I really need to edit that video down to like fade out correctly and everything.
Charles, how's your little vacation going?
Right, let me fire it up. Did we get some titles in here?
Yeah, there are a few in there. And now we can't change days because of the song.
I know. I was thinking about that earlier.
No, for real, Copilot, man. Just try it. It's like
I have no choice. It's in PHP Storm. It does its thing. It's just I haven't gotten that same like, oh my god, like you guys had last week.
well, you have to learn how to use it, like any tool. And the frequently asked questions on it are so funny because it sounds like us arguing with them about it. Like the wording on it is very casual, and the questions that are in the frequently asked question are exactly the stuff we were like yelling about. And it definitely saves me time. Like it's not always useful, but when it pops up and says like, hey, did you mean to do this? I'm like, yeah, kinda, good enough. I'm surprised Eric hasn't done like a live coding session with it.
I'm thinking
It's so
about
hard
it.
because we have so much
Depends on
client
what-
stuff.
I mean, I could do it. I could do it on PHP Architect or PHP Roundtable. Just
you know,
having
on
a
PHP
time.
Architect.
I can
Not
do it on
Architect.
PHP Architect. I can do it
Not
on
on-
my version of PHP Architect. You're
No,
not the
no,
boss
no,
of me. You're not the boss of me.
no,
I'll
no,
do
no.
it where and when I want to do it. I'll do it. Let's see.
What?
What am I looking at?
Oh, you can't see it over there. No, it doesn't come through. Stuff, ideas, things.
Yeah,
You got to let me edit your
Charlton, you
from the editor.
The what? Who? What?
what?
The letter from the editor, you got to let me edit that.
What do you mean letter from the? Oh, you talking about the editorial?
No, the first page of the magazine.
The editorial.
No, an editorial is an editorial. The letter from the editor is the welcome
Whatever.
to this month's.
Okay.
Yeah,
What don't you like about it?
I bet I wrote it.
I did a lot of journalism in high school.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Uh,
write
uh,
it. It's yours. You can.
I don't
want
want to. No, but I don't want to write it because I'm not a writer. I'm an editor. I just want to edit it once.
Let me
and
get
throw
the
it back to
let
you.
me get the feedback. What's the feedback on it?
It ends very abruptly, and it does not have correct thesis structure.
Where's that mute button?
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Shit, I had it on my to-do list, and I clicked away from my to-do list. Why didn't that show up? Damn it! I had something funny happen. I should save it for next week, but I'll forget anyways. I have, I go on these couch DB kicks, right? Where they're schemaless databases that synchronize with other nodes and all this other stuff. So a while back, I set up a couple of jobs that would synchronize like our podcasts and a few other things. So I have a CouchDB instance that has all of our podcasts listed in it, and like what we had for topics and shit like that. Basically whatever's on Simplecast gets pulled in. And I was messing around with my Raspberry Pi. I'm like, oh crap! I wonder if that's up to date. And I looked, and it's up to date. Like, it has all of our podcasts from up until last week. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Shit, where's that job running? I have like 4 CouchDB instances that are synchronizing this database, and I can't figure out where the goddamn job that creates it is at. But they're all in sync. They're all keeping in sync. I just don't know who's creating the damn entries anymore.
You saw the new Pi Zero, right?
Not a new one. I mean, I know what the Pi Zero is. I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen a new one.
Yeah, the Pi Zero got an update this week.
Oh no, I didn't see
that. 4 gigahertz model. Yeah, it went from 1 gigahertz single core to 4 gigahertz dual core, I think.
I have a 02, and they are so stinking small. It's ridiculous.
So the 02W is I'm trying to find the article now.
Yeah, I don't see it on their site, but I just
So the Pi Zero is, or the Pis, all of the Pis are being affected by the chip shortage.
Oh, I bet.
It's like all the prices of them are going up.
The Pi Zero is $4 now.
Yeah, the 02W is $15 and it has wireless. And the 02 without wireless is $10.
Okay. And I told you, Pop! OS is doing a version of their OS for Pi. And I don't think it'll run on the 0. It might. I don't know. I don't know how different the chipsets are, but it definitely is going to run on the Pi 4 or 5 or whatever they're up to now. Pi 4.
Yeah. So the 2 gig Pi 4 is $45 now. It's a $10 increase. And the 1 gig Pi 4 is being produced again because it was canceled, but now they're producing it for $35.
I say I'm seeing 35 on the website, but that must be the lower end. Oh yeah, I see 4 and 8 gig. It goes up to 8 gig, huh? Wow. Impressive.
If we've got the money, we got the pie.
I mean, yeah. As far as
dude, there is a Pi tablet that does software defined radio, like with a little mod, that I am almost ready to drop $200 on.
Yeah, I hear they have a keyboard out now too, but I don't know. I haven't been able to get my hands on one.
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I've heard good things.
Hey, you want to get together?
I wouldn't know.
Hey, you want to get together pre-show before tonight's show? I'll bring it to you.
If you could manage that, I'd be so impressed.
That would be quite the feat.
All right. Next week, pre-show. Pre-game.
Darling data, yes. If I am very excited about Pop! OS.
Speaking of which,
matter of fact,
calendar
the keyboard.
wise,
I'm thinking I'm going to install it on the keyboard. I think that'd be cool.
The 23rd to the 26th, I will be in San Diego.
Which dates?
Is that right?
23rd
No.
to the 26th.
No, wait. When's Thanksgiving? 18th?
No, it's the 4th Thursday.
25th. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's the 4th Thursday.
From the 23rd to the 26th, I will be in San Diego.
Oh, I'm going to be out of town that week.
Are you fucking kidding
me? I forgot. I got to fly to Mars.
At least he's bad at lying. Oh, I didn't get to say fuck
like
Elon Musk.
Just like my
For all the people who are still listening, fuck Elon Musk. Dude is the worst. I am so...
But if he's willing to sponsor PHP Architect, we will embrace him.
No, 100% no. Fuck that dude. He is a super
when
villain.
When did you get on the board?
I've been on board with not liking him for a while, but when someone suggested that $6 billion could solve world hunger, and he was like, show me the spreadsheet or it's $0, I was like, fuck that guy. He volunteered to donate $6 billion to end world hunger if you could prove that $6 billion would end world hunger.
Which, in all honesty, it might if people weren't involved. But the moment you start to get people involved,
I don't care.
That money goes away.
Here was his ultimatum was, show me the logistics that can deliver food to end world hunger to everyone that is hungry on the planet, or it's $0. So fuck that guy. And when they didn't respond immediately to him, he pulled up an article about how there were bad actors in the World Health Organization. And he was like, hey, look,
my point.
Hey, look, you're pedophiles. No, he did the same thing he always does, which is he calls people pedophiles.
But do you hear how upset you are about the fact that a man won't donate $6 billion? Are you hearing yourself right now?
Okay. 10% of his wealth, which is significantly less than I pay in taxes.
Are you willing to donate 10% of your wealth to anything?
I pay 28% in my taxes. Do you know what his earned income was for the year? $18,000. So he paid in taxes $600. So yes, I don't think that's right
more. Either. I don't think that's right either. But I can't get mad or I can't fault the guy for not wanting to donate $6 billion.
I easily can, because the whole idea of America was we don't have fucking kings. And right now, there are 18 people in America who are wealthier than anyone in history has ever been. But we don't call them kings. We call them job makers. Elon Musk is not a job maker. He's a fucking user. And he said, I'll give you $6 billion if you can achieve this unachievable task. If you can't, I will give you $0. And he committed to it on Twitter and said, that's it. $0, and you guys are pedophiles. Fuck that dude in every way possible. He got his money from exploiting emerald mine workers in South Africa, children who worked in emerald mines. The dude is evil. And we had, as in our generation,
but he created PayPal, so you know.
He didn't create PayPal, he bought PayPal.
Fine,
he didn't create Tesla, he bought Tesla. He didn't create SpaceX, he bought SpaceX. And part of the terms for his purchase of all those companies was, I get the name creator, and the people who actually created it get my money. That was it. He did not create any of them. The dude is a supervillain, and we were raised on this ideal of a black and white superhero supervillain for so long that we can't even fucking see it anymore.
I feel like if there's a supervillain, I think it would be Bezos. He seems
they are both. Every person trying to go to space right now is a supervillain. They've got dick-shaped. They've got dick-shaped rockets that they're launching from volcanic islands, and they deserve to. Can't say that part. But they are fucking villains, and they are hoarding money like monsters, and we are letting them get away with teasing people about it on Twitter. I'll give you $6 billion to solve world hunger. If you can prove that it solves world hunger, fuck that guy. Just give us $6 billion. It's literally nothing to you. Fuck that dude. I am so...
10% is not nothing.
10% is absolutely nothing, because you give 26 or 27 or 28% in your taxes every day, and he gave $800 in taxes last year. So fuck him. He could give $12 billion and be unaffected by it. He could give 99% of his money away and still be able to live any kind of lifestyle he wanted. But right now he has enough money to have a personal army that can overthrow governments so that he can get lithium from Africa. That's how much money he has, is more money than African governments have and enough to control the populace to get the materials he needs to think that he's the next fucking Thomas Edison. The dude is a fucking monster. Also, Thomas Edison was a monster, but that's a different story.
Is this your PHP After Dark episode?
It's turned into it.
Colin?
I just, people don't.
At least he's more
don't
sober this
understand.
time. He makes a little bit more sense than he did last week. Did you watch last week's show, Tom? Jesus.
I remember doing it.
Well, then I'm impressed you remember doing it.
The dude is evil. Like there's no other word for a person who teases the starving the way he does with his billions of dollars that he is not using to just say, I could solve world hunger, but I'm not gonna because the spreadsheets don't fucking line up. Fuck that dude. That's why, actually, now that I remember, that's why we didn't get into it during the episode. Fuck that dude. He is a monster.
It's still live. That's the funny part.
I know. But it's just the fans now. And it's just
Charlton, you're right.
it's just Eric's
Not
children.
fans. Why do you call them fans?
It's Eric's children who say, preach.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking
They don't have a job anymore, so they're just looking for something to get involved with. Wow.
Just like everyone on Twitter,
No,
you need
they
that.
quit.
You need that little thing in your bio. My rants are my own thoughts. They do not represent PHPUgly in any way, or PHP Architect.
Yeah. No, I made sure that we stopped recording already. Don't worry.
Oh dear God. I got more people. Elios on. Jesus. Oh,
Eric is collecting children and companies. I love it.
Elio is one of my children's partner, and up in San Francisco, becoming a biotech engineer or something. I pay attention, just enough attention.
Telling you, bioethicist is the career to get into.
I'm excited for him. I hope they stick with it because it sounds like a challenging field, but they want to find microorganisms on other planets. Figure that's going to happen here soon.
Got bad news about that one.
Yeah, don't care what your opinions are on it, really, Thomas. So thank you.
Which is good news for a podcast. Jesus Christ, though, Elon Musk.
Dude, please pump the brakes on that one.
I'm just
pump the brakes on it.
Like I'm vibrating with anger now.
I can tell.
Probably my heart
about it. You're passionate about it, and I applaud you for that. I fucking don't care right now. Don't care in the slightest.
So you're going to be here the 23rd through the 26th. Let's set up a time if we're going to get together because that's Thanksgiving week. It's hard.
John, Jesus. What are we going to do for Thanksgiving week? Are we going to record? Or are we skipping?
We have to record if I'm in person or not and just get drunk and pretend we're recording.
Yeah, let me tell my wife that on a holiday I'm going to leave the house.
Not on Thanksgiving.
You know how hard it would be for us to record in person right now? Both John and I don't have an office anymore. All of our equipment's all over the place. I don't see us recording in person. I mean, we can. It'll be like a crappy like Snapchat or something.
Yeah, like we can do like a 15-minute Facebook Live.
Hey, look, we're together. Like people care. That's fine.
I often wonder.
Nah, I can help you with that.
Why don't we just get together for a beer? Like, we don't have to do
there's
it on
a
air.
great
We
little.
could just be friends.
If you're willing to come to Poway, I'll come get you. If you're willing to come to Poway, John and I got a cool little spot here. I'll come pick you up wherever you are.
Or we go to Modern Times and Encinitas. I'll go to Modern Times.
Yeah, we could go to. There's a ton of places
That's
in
fine.
Encinitas that are.
I don't know what Modern Times are, but that's fine.
It's a brewery, but it's
okay.
Wait,
all their food is vegan.
There's a brewery in Encinitas.
I think it's Encinitas.
That's what we can do.
Awesome.
The Far West Lounge.
Let's announce where and when we're meeting, and any listeners in the area who care to join us can join us. Let's do that.
God, I can't tell where that.
Or let's announce a place and time, and then let's go meet somewhere else. I'm the real evil one in this group.
Members only meet up somewhere in Encinitas sometime the week of the 23rd, the 23rd to the 22nd to the 27th.
Right.
I'm flying in on the 22nd, I think. No, I'm flying in on the 21st.
Oh my gosh, keeps getting pushed back.
I can't read a calendar.
No. That would be pushed forward, John. He was
the 23rd, then the 22nd, then the 21st.
21st, right? So he's coming in sooner, not later. That's pushed back.
Okay, whatever. So the 23rd, done. Modern Times,
23rd.
Encinitas.
23rd, Modern Times, Encinitas.
What time? What is the 23rd? What day is the 23rd?
Tuesday.
4?
Oh God, I hate Tuesdays. Yeah, I mean the earlier the better, because I could really use getting hammered on Tuesday.
4 o'clock? 3 o'clock?
That's
2
fine.
o'clock? Yeah,
Whatever. I'm gonna put it on the calendar. I'll tell my wife about it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'll have a
send me an invite,
burger's
John,
made
because
of.
I'm too busy editing a podcast right now.
Is Beck gonna come?
Is Beck invited?
Yeah, 100%. My wife will be there.
It depends on if she's working and where she's working, but I will mention it to her, and if she can, I'm sure she will.
Oh yeah, if we can squeeze the wives in to like all meet each other, that'd be cool too.
Beck's
my wife's Beck's met Becky.
Yeah, that's right.
They are dangerously similar.
Let's see here.
Those burgers don't look bad.
Okay. I am horrible at editing the podcast now. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't go through it and clean it up anymore.
Well,
and a lot of it's because we've gotten so much better at recording. Our equipment has gotten so much better, and we've gotten so much better. Like the ands, buts, does.
Before we get into that, thank you everyone on the live stream for listening to us. We couldn't do this without you, and we love all of our patrons and our sponsors, and we are so glad to have everyone making this Discord channel like the really awesome thing that it is. It's pretty great. So for tonight, we are signing off. Thank you very much. And
Thanks, everyone.
goodbye.